I hope everyone's doing well. I'm Mr. Ish. Thank you for joining me for here where we're looking at the derivation of the arc length formula. You know that from calculus 1. If you look here at a function, in this function we just have a point here A and we have a point here B. A certain arc is demonstrated. There's a formula for determining the length of that arc. The length of that arc depends on what type of integral you're looking at. Lower limit, upper limit B, you have a 1 plus dy over dx whole square dx. You know this. Another way you can look at it is this. You have a ds over dx is equal to, you have a limit as delta x approaches 0. You have here a delta s over delta x. These are just different ways of saying the same thing. All of that is equal to this 1 plus dy over dx whole square. That's what it's done. When you look over here and you push the dx on the other side, you bring the dx as you see over here. This is one way of representing. You know there's another formula too if you're looking at everything from a vertical direction C to D. In this particular case you have a arc length formula which is 1 plus dx over dy whole square. In this particular case you're looking at a dy integral. If you were to write it in this form, you're looking at a ds over dy is equal to limit as delta y approaches 0. You're looking here at delta s over delta y, which would be equal to square root 1 plus dx over dy whole square. These are just different representations. This for that, and then this for right over here. But these are your two arc length formulas. One is a dx, one is a dy. In this video, we're looking at the demonstration or the derivation of this, the dx. And let's get into it. The derivation procedure for the arc length, we're focusing here on the dx integral, is not difficult and it's rather quite fun. Now the procedure starts with you looking here at a specific curve. It's a function. We'll say y is equal to f of x. We can also say it's an s. Now you're selecting a point over here. I'm calling this a point P. You look down, it's an x. You look across, it's a y. Select another point here, it's a q. You are now looking down. You have moved a certain delta x away, so this is x plus delta x. You're looking across. You moved up by a certain delta y. So this right here must be y plus delta y. If you were to bring in the coordinates for p and q, you know it's not hard. P coordinates would be x comma y. Q coordinates would be x plus delta x comma y plus delta y. You don't need to know this for the derivation. This is just good background information. Everything will start here when you're looking at this curve S. You're looking here at a delta x across, delta y above, and a right triangle, pluck it out. And the right triangle looks something like this. Here's your 90 degrees, here's your delta y dimension, here's your delta x. You know here's your point P, here's your point Q. Now there are two things which are demonstrated between a point P and a point Q. What are those? You're seeing one item in this representation, you're seeing the other here. What you see between a PQ is an arc and a segment. Here you're seeing an arc, here you're seeing a segment, but I can draw the segment right over here. Here it is. And I can draw the arc over here. My arc is going to be labeled as PQ and arc. My segment is going to be labeled as PQ and a segment. It's a chord, but it's also the hypotenuse of that triangle. There's one thing which is essential to the derivation procedure for that arc length integral. I'm not going to show it to you in this video because I've already demonstrated that in another video. I'll include the tag for that video here. You need to understand this. At any time you're looking between 2 points, let this be a point P, this point Q, you can draw between 2 points a straight line, which is your segment. But you can also draw an arc. If you look here at the arc PQ and you look at the segment PQ, you know the arc PQ will be longer than the segment PQ. It can be demonstrated and it will be true. The length of this arc will be longer than the segment between those 2 points. If you were to do the ratio of these two, PQ ratio of an arc to a PQ segment, and you were to apply limit as Q approaches P, the second point comes to the original point, then you know the dimension of the segment and the dimension of that arc between those 2 points changes. This ratio will always tend towards a 1. And I'm not going to show you why in this video it tends towards 1, but you need to know this. You will now remember this for the derivation procedure. The ratio of the arc to the segment will always equal to 1 when a limit is applied. I will include the tag for the video where I've demonstrated this. You can demonstrate this specific aspect for any number of types of functions. It could be a function, it could be a unit circle. If you're even looking at a unit circle and you're looking here at a sector and you look at it, between this point and this point you have an arc which you see, but you also have here a segment. If you look at this arc and you look at this segment and you do the ratio of these as this certain angle theta, as the angle theta approaches 0 from the right, this certain limit, this certain quotient, the arc length to the segment between those 2 points will always equal 1. And you can apply the same logic to this even though you're not dealing with a unit circle. So keep an eye out for that tag. You need to know this. I won't duplicate procedures in this video, but we now know that when the time comes we have to apply this as a limit, and we will just use 1. So where do we go from here? How does everything start? You know, you're looking here at s. Your function here is an s. If your function y is equal to f of x, you do the derivative over here, you have a dy over dx. But then you also have something which is an x. You do the derivative, you're looking here at a ds over dx. What I'm going to do is start my derivation procedure with delta s and a delta x, because it involves change in items before a limit has been applied. Look, I have a delta x, I have a delta y, I have a delta s. You don't see it, but I'll put it here. If this right here is your curve s, the change from going from point P to Q with regards to the s must be a delta s, because it's representing a change in that curve. Your arc PQ is your delta s. When you look over here at this limit I've alluded to, then you're also saying that you have here a delta s over a PQ segment, and the ratio of these two should always equal to 1, because delta s is equal to arc PQ. Our derivation procedure begins with this. You will have a function which is continuous over its entire domain. It's differentiable, hence we can start with that. So what we do here is we have delta s over delta x starting our procedure. What is it equal to? How do you bring everything into play? It's equal to itself, but look what I'm going to do. I'm going to write it in this way. Delta s over something and something over delta x. I'm going to bring something here, I'm going to bring something over here, because it will allow me to start bringing in relationships from that triangle. What is that item I'll bring over here? It's a certain segment, and that segment will be none other than your segment PQ. And algebraically nothing has changed. You can simply cancel these PQs, and what you have here is equal to here. And now I'm going to do something different, because when I'm looking over here, I have here a relationship a square plus b square is equal to c square. I have one leg, and I have a hypotenuse. I can say I have delta x square plus delta y square is equal to what? It's equal to your segment square, PQ segment square. You're not going to solve for it, just keep it as this, because now I'm going to do a algebraic manipulation technique. This manipulation technique still maintains everything in terms of balance. You can still cancel out the PQs, you can cancel out the exponents, you still have left hand equal to right hand. What I'm going to do now is bring in some terms. Look, focus only over here. I have here with something looks like a over b whole square. Don't confuse these a and b's for the Pythagorean a and b's. This is just a designation. Using laws of exponents, you're looking at a square over b square. Keep this in mind. I have here delta s over delta x whole square is equal to what? Now come right over here in this. I'm looking at a delta s, which you now know to be equal to your arc PQ. Bring them the arc PQ. Arc PQ over the segment PQ, and this right here is a square. In this area now I'm going to bring a relationship. I know PQ squared is equal to this, so let's bring it in. When we bring it in, what do we have? We will have this. We'll have here a delta x whole square plus delta y whole square all over delta x whole square. Everything being separated using algebra and laws of exponents. This is what we have. And now this is where we have arrived to right over here. Look here at this term right here. I'm going to highlight it for you, this term right here. I'm looking here at an arc over a segment PQ. You could technically, if you want, just bring in the limit right now if you wanted. We can just hold off for a little bit. Focus right here on this part now, right here. I am looking at something which looks like a square plus b square over a square. Algebraically it's no different than 1 plus b square over a square, which algebraically is no different than 1 plus b over a whole square in terms of laws of exponents. So let's write it out as that. I'm going to rewrite everything out using that algebra and laws of exponent. I'm looking over here at this 1 plus delta y over delta x whole square. Now it's beginning to look kind of like what you see in your arc length formula, but we're not there yet. What do we do from here? Think about this limit on this curve. You're going from, if you were to do limit as q were to approach p, a bunch of things would happen. As you're going from this point back to your original point, you know the delta x dimension will zero out. It'll tend towards 0. Your delta y will zero out because you no longer will have the difference in the x. You no longer will have the difference in the y. You're going from your second point to your original point. But what would happen with regards to your delta s? The delta s would behave in such a way in terms of that quotient. Your this PQ, which is synonymous with delta s over PQ segment, as I told you, it'll tend towards 1. It will tend towards 1, and you will take that as a fact. The difference between 2 points in terms of an arc and a segment, the ratio of those as you eliminate the distance or separation between the two, those in 2 dimensions, ratio equals a 1. Accept that, and I have that in another video. You can watch it. So when we're seeing this 1, we're bringing in a 1 over here, and it's a 1 square. If you were to look at it, everything here in terms of a square, it's no different than you looking here at 1 square, which is still a 1. It comes over here very well, and it goes away. It's no point in even to bring in a 1. It's meaningless. You are in essence looking at this is equal to that. Now let's take this to completion. How will we take this to completion? You will take this in the following way, as I'll write it. You're basically going to apply the limit over here. Your limit, as what you're really doing, is this. Limit as delta x were to approach 0. You have this item over here. Delta s over delta x whole square should be no different than you rewriting your limit in the following way. Limit as delta x approaches 0. This right here is synonymous to that, because you know the right hand is equal to left hand. You're looking here at delta y over delta x whole square, and you close it out. That's what you have. If you were to solve this limit such that delta x is approaching 0, you would notice that your delta values will zero out, and you'll end up looking here at what would be a derivative. When you go from your second point to your original point and you start examining it, a derivative develops at that particular point. Your designation changes from a delta to a d. Your delta will change to a d. When you apply this limit, I'm going to bring it in over here because I'm kind of running out of space over there. When I apply the limit, the designation will change in the following way as I write it out for you. A limit applied over here will change the designation such that you'll be looking at a ds over dx whole square is equal to, the limit applied over here will change the designation such that you're looking at 1 plus dy over dx whole square, and you see it. Your delta x zeroes out, your designation delta changes to a d, because at that particular point now a derivative becomes establishable. You can establish it. You're going to solve for ds over dx. ds over dx is equal to what? Well, let's just solve it right here. You push the square on the other side. When you push the exponent on the other side, you can bring over here a square root. When you solve for dx, you push the dx onto the other side. ds is equal to, you push the dx, it becomes here. Remember, you had a dx over here, you push it on the other side, it multiplies. It's divide here, it multiplies there, and now you're seeing what is found in the integral of your arc length formula. You can rewrite this. You're looking here at ds is equal to this. In terms of integral, you're looking here at length. Then you're looking from a lower limit, upper limit, and your arc length formula has been established. And the derivation procedure comes to an end. Remember, the 2 most important items of this entire derivation is this. When you pluck out this triangle and you look between point P and Q, you have 2 items. You have a segment, you have an arc. That arc, the delta s and PQ are synonymous. You can either write it with this or you can just remove it. It doesn't matter, you have to put an arc over here or not, but that delta s is synonymous with the arc PQ. The ratio of those as you do your limit evaluation always becomes a 1, and it allows you to eliminate this term right over here as you saw. Then you're really looking at just the relationship between this term and the second term right over here. That takes you through to completion. Thank you for watching.